Hey guys, so next project, we'll just call it neglect. This is my 1978 Jawa, 634, 352 stroke, built in Czechoslovakia, probably in 1977. But it's since 1978. I've had it since I was 27 years old, which is 23 years ago. I got this bike. I swore I'd keep it forever, and I probably will. But unfortunately, I own it. So I neglected it. I haven't touched this bike. I haven't ridden this bike in, I bet you, 2.5, 3 years, if not more than that. Might even be more than that. 12-volt bike, kickstart. Nothing super amazing, just a really cool old bike. I had a pump on it. Pump's still there, but I just wired it closed. I just pre-mixed the fuel. But because someone who looks a lot like me fixed this bike, or neglected this bike, who will fix this bike, I have to do some work. And here's the major problem: fuel. Don't ever, 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 ever leave your bike with fuel in it for 3 to 4 years. Because this is what happens. See that? That used to be a mint fuel tank. It is gross and scummy, and I don't even know how to describe everything that's going on in there, but it's bad. So, luckily, because I'm kind of a hoarder, I have a spare fuel tank. And it's pretty nice inside. It's way nicer than that. So I'm going to pull the side panels off this, probably the rubbers, and empty this tank out first, but it doesn't flow out the petcock. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to take it over, put it in an oil bin, pull the petcock off, drain all that crap out of it, and dispose of it responsibly. Our dump has a recycle place, so I can take that too. Pop that tank off, pop that tank on. Then next step would be to take this Jawa carburetor off. They're very simple. There's no real seals or anything in it. Like, there's little gaskets here and places like that. So it should be able to just take it out, clean it up really good, and pop it back in. And that should get most of the running issues fixed. Going to need an oil change. This bike uses just gear oil in the crankcase, and it splashes it up. Here's a little known fact right up here at the front, right down that bolt, right where it looks like a bolt hole, is actually a grease fitting, and that goes to the main bearing on the center bearing on the crank. And if you don't hit that every 500 miles or so with a little bit of oil or some grease, I put oil in there, as recommended by the guy who rebuilt the motor, because the grease tends to harden and pack up and doesn't work anymore. Every 500 miles or so, I pull that grease nipple out of there. I put a little plunger oiler in there, and just pump it a bunch of times. And then put it back on, and no problems. This bike runs really good, except when I can neglect it. So, but yeah, it's got good tires on it and everything, and now it's coming up fall, it's a good time to rebuild a bike in the fall. But this is my next project. So I'm going to go through this bike probably in 2 episodes, because I'm going to do the tank in one. I'm going to strip all this top off here in about 20 minutes. Strip all the top off the seat and the tank, and just generally go over the wiring and make sure everything's still good. Like I said, I want to ride this bike. I just sold my Harley yesterday, because I'm buying a house, and this is going to be one of my toys next summer. Go along with the Triumph, the famous Triumph. So yeah, so let's get at it. Give me a couple minutes and we'll start stripping this girl down. This is a weird setup. What you have here is you have a screw that goes into a rubber bush, and at the end of this rubber bushing is a bolt, and so when you tighten it, it expands and locks the tank into the frame. The only downside to that is if it sits for multiple years, now it's really difficult to get out, and you don't want to bust it because then you can't put your tank back on. Design flaw number one, as far as I'm concerned, where a simple bolt through a rubber bushing, like just a fixed one, would have done just as well. Or you could do what the Hondas do, which is a plate through a rubber bushing. But okay, on to this part. Okay, bike stripped down. Looks all right, I guess. See all the factory wiring still there. Maybe fix that. Yeah, it's like dirt. It's like corroded in here from where the seat rubs it and stuff. But wires all seem pretty good. I don't see any missing ends or anything. Everything looks pretty good. Yeah, here's the beautiful old style coils. That's actually Bakelite. And if you think about it, this bike was built in 1977 or 1978. You didn't need to use Bakelite back then. You could just use plastic. In 1978, if you bought a 350 Honda or a 450 Honda, they'd already gone through the Honda 354s and the 404s and the CB 350s. They were into modern motorcycles with disc brakes and electric start and electronic ignition, which this bike doesn't have. I love this bike. It's a great bike. It's totally reliable. It's fun as shit to ride. And it's bulletproof. They made workhorses, man. But let's, I got the tank stripped off. I'm going to go drain it. Okay, just to review, here's the old tank. Ratty old tank. I haven't looked in it yet. I drained it all out, as you all saw that. As you all saw. And, I mean, the tank's beautiful. It's in nice shape, but here's the evil part. That is so gross. Are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? I hope so. That is so gross. I'm a bad, bad man. Okay. Well, let's open up the new tank and hope it looks better than that. I'm a little embarrassed. Okay, I did that. That's my fault, but let's check out the other tank. As the reason we're doing this is to get the bike running, I'm willing to take an uglier tank. The finish on this tank isn't quite as nice as the old tank, although I'm sure it'll clean up quite a bit with some polish and stuff. Like, there's some damage to it, but I think this is the reason. Look at that tank. Here's a little bit of debris in it. I'll try and flush it out a bit, but it is freaking amazing inside. Like I said, there's a little bit of corrosion, but I'm not worried about that little bit. And the petcock looks new, so that's good. Yes, there's a little bit of debris out there. I'll get all that out of here. But yes, so this tank is going to go on. I am probably going to take my old side panels off. They're just a little bit nicer than this. I will polish the whole tank up before I put it on, so I'm not going to worry about cleaning it yet. But yeah, so that's this episode. We're gonna try and keep them short. So I want people to enjoy them and watch them and not find that it's taken their whole evening to watch one video. But yeah, this tank looks impeccable. So I will, I'm going to strip the side panels off. I'm going to buff it up. I'm going to do that all off camera. And the next time you come back, we are going to pull the carburetor. I haven't pulled this carburetor off in, I bet you, a decade. It's been that good a bike. Pull the carburetor off, we'll put it on the bench, and then we will get it cleaned up and get it on the bike and see if we can get the old girl to start. Yeah, so you guys have a good day, night, evening, weekend, whatever it is after you've watched this. Go get a beer, kiss your wife, and we'll see you all next time. Thank you.